Hi, my name is Arnie Peterson from Awareness and Health, and this is episode number 13 today. It's the last video on the main theme of anxiety and stress, and I'm going to be sort of tying them all together, giving you the highlights of all of them. And I'm a hypnotherapist, an energy healer, and a mindfulness teacher, and I really like talking about how to create really simple tools of how to raise our life up into feeling better about ourselves, to create more abundance in our life, and to let go of blocks and limiting emotions that hold us back and make us feel bad about ourselves. And so the first thing I want to do is talk about, on the first video of this series, it was about anxiety and stress, and what is stress? What is anxiety? So I'm going to start with stress. Stress really, in a sense, is resisting life, of what's happening in life. We're resisting what's happening. We're not liking a certain person. We're trying to push something away. We're saying no to life. This shouldn't be happening. So this resistance to life, this rejection of life, creates a lot of stress, because here's life and we're way over here and we're resisting what's actually really happening. But it's happening, and we're spending all of our energy, all of our focus with this clenched up kind of feeling, and it creates a lot of stress. It's very stressful to be in life when life is happening and to actually be resisting it, saying it shouldn't be happening, but it is. And so stress is really just the saying no to life, resisting the person, the place, the thing, wanting to hold on to somebody, wanting to create something else, wanting to push something away. And so what happens with anxiety, what I think anxiety is when we feel things and we don't process them. And maybe once upon a time when we're younger, we built the habit of, from something happening where we weren't supported with what we were feeling, what we were doing. Something happened to us where we felt a lot of emotion, and it was too much to just process on our own, and we were never supported through it. And so what happens is we ended up kind of checking out, dissociating from that feeling. And so over the years, if we didn't resolve that feeling, it turns into this unresolved trauma that's kind of stuck in our cellular memory, stuck in our psyche, in our mental and our emotional subconscious mind. And so what happens is whenever something happens that makes us feel that feeling, we just push it away. And it gets pushed down and shoved down and shoved down. And what happens is all of that energy is there. And then when something happens in life that we feel that feeling, it's hard enough to just deal with the thing that's actually happening, but it triggers up all of that unresolved feeling of the same kind from the past that we didn't resolve, and I call that anxiety. And if that builds up to be enough, it can be a full-blown panic attack where we feel something and all of a sudden we get this trigger and we're just overwhelmed because there's so much of that unresolved energy. And so if we can't deal with just what's going on, how can we deal with 1,000 other times in the past where we never resolved that feeling? And so these videos are all about how to move through these kind of emotions and keep emotion from building up and turning into stress and anxiety. So a big part of that in the next video was breathing, and breathing allows us to let go of things. It's a natural cycle. We breathe in, and then we breathe out. And when we breathe out, we're actually making space and making room. We're letting go of the old breath, the old life experience of a few moments ago. And that makes room for a brand new breath. So in every breath we breathe in, it's actually going through an automatic cycle that teaches us, that has the wisdom in it on every breath of how to let go of the past, how to not hold on. Now imagine this. I'm holding on to my breath. How long can you hold your breath for before panic starts to set in, where you feel this resistance and you have to breathe? You're just sort of forced to let that go and to breathe. But what if instead you just didn't try and hold on to that breath you were on? You didn't try and hold on to something. You actually decided to just allow yourself to be with your breathing, allow yourself to be with life, and allow yourself to just be with it in the moment as life changes, as you feel it in your body, as you feel your breathing now, and you allow it to happen. Your breathing becomes very slow and very gentle, unless you're hiking up a hill. But if you're just in a natural state, just sitting, not doing much, your breathing will actually slow down, and it's the bridge to the subconscious mind. So you can connect to your autonomic nervous system through all of the automatic functions. Our subconscious mind handles our survival systems, it handles our emotions, it stores all of our long-term memory. That self-perception is how we feel about ourselves, how we look at the world. All of our belief systems, our creative mind, are all in our subconscious mind. And so when we're consciously focusing on our breathing, and by the way, we don't actually breathe in a calm state unless it's safe. So if we're focusing on our breathing, just allowing our breathing calms down and goes into a state of ease. And that turns our fight or flight, if we're feeling stress, off. And it turns us back into a homeostasis, into our balanced, neutral state. The parasympathetic system turns on. And so with breathing, it's very helpful. And if we feel our body sensations and allow them, we're allowing and accepting life, and we're actually saying yes to life. And that's actually what lets go of stress, because stress is the byproduct of saying no to life. So when we say yes to life and we allow it, stress begins to let go. Partially because we're not resisting life. We're actually, when we're resisting life, everything's clenching up, our emotions, our mental. This shouldn't be happening, and we get clenched up. But then when we allow and we focus on our breathing, we're actually allowing a state of ease, and our muscles and our mind, our emotions begin to soften, and they're not holding on to anything. And therefore, emotional feeling can move through, things can move through us. And as well, when we're focusing inward into our body, energy flows where our attention goes. So energy is coming back into the body. We're bringing energy back that was going to all of these thoughts and these worries. It's now coming back into the body. And so I want to talk about the next video, which is about fear, false evidence appearing real. When we perceive life in the moment through the lens of stress, of anxiety, unresolved feeling, emotion in the past that we weren't able to process through it gets kind of built up. It's like shoving all of these beach balls under the water. They take tension and resistance, and then all of a sudden we can't hold on to them all because too many things happen in the moment. They all come out of the water and blow up, and we feel really stressed and overwhelmed. When we're feeling the results from the past and we're perceiving them unconsciously, we're looking at life now through the lenses of these past unresolved feelings and emotions. And that is what I call anxiety, that it's this build-up of these emotions. Now imagine in the present moment, something just happens. You just allow it in your body, you're able to just feel it. It's not a problem. You're able to just feel it, be with it, allow it, experience it. And because you're in a state of ease and allowing rather than tension and resistance, you're able to allow, you're able to experience it. There's nothing holding it back, so it can move through your body, through your awareness. There's no problem with that. Things flow, things move, things are in a state of ease. That if you've got this practiced, this behavior, this coping mechanism where you're used to checking out when this feeling happens, when this kind of thing happens and you feel a certain way, when that kind of person, that kind of experience triggers that kind of feeling that you really don't like, that you avoid, you try and push away, what happens is you're triggering all of the filing cabinet of all those unresolved feelings that you've stored away in hundreds of file folders over the years. And the subconscious mind, when you experience that in the moment, it triggers that drawer to open. All of the past emotion comes up. That's why we feel overwhelmed. And so when we allow ourselves to just be with what we're feeling, being in the moment, it allows all of that stuff to just let go and to move out of our system. Then we could just move through life as it happens and be in the moment, and everything is nice and easy. Even if we're feeling a lot, we're in acceptance of it. Now let's move on to the next part. A negative mind will never bring you a positive life. Now, if we think of a pathway that our brain, the neural pathways that run our functions, all of the neural networks in our brain, that when we're repeating something over and over, when we repeat dissociating from a feeling, checking out from a feeling, always trying to avoid a feeling, trying to numb, trying to do things, putting a mask on, covering up who we are, these are actually behaviors that create superhighways in our brain, that our brain just runs these functions, and our subconscious mind runs them automatically. All the energy runs through these neurons, these neural pathways, and it just fires and lights up all of these neural networks. And so what happens with that is that the energy moves through what we're used to doing. These are the automatic functions, that these behaviors that are just done automatically. And so when we keep focusing on negative things, when we keep saying, I don't like this, I don't like that, we're sending energy and strengthening these superhighways. Now, there are parts of the highway that I remember when I was a kid that went off, and there were really sharp corners, and they straightened the highway. And in certain places that I've seen for many, many years, and then the highway goes along and you can look and see the old highway off to the side, or the old road. And over the years, when they just leave the road there, that old road, it overgrows and trees start to grow in it. And pretty soon it's not a road anymore. It turns into a forest. That's what happens to our brain when we stop the negative behaviors, focusing on the negative. Things aren't working. Things don't feel good. I'm not happy with things. This shouldn't happen this way. That person shouldn't do that. I'm a bad person. I'm not worthy. That's why good things don't happen to me. When we're focusing on that, we're making a super highway to make those automatic behaviors keep happening. But as soon as we recognize that, we realize, oh, I'm actually perpetuating things to happen in my life of making me feel not good. I'm supporting behaviors and experiences in life that just keep supporting the beliefs that I'm not worthy. And so when we notice that and we start stepping out into positive directions in life and focusing on things that we love, gratitude and appreciation, and start saying no to things that don't feel right, to experiences that don't feel right, to people that there are not healthy relationships with, and we start focusing instead, making room, letting go of that thing by saying no to it, and opening up space to the things that feel good, that we want in our life, then pretty soon we start creating the new program of focusing on the positive, and then our life starts changing. We start strengthening those neural pathways. And it's hard to start with because the pathways are very small. We have to do it consciously, and it's really hard. We've got a repetition and keep repeating. But after a while, they become automatic behaviors, and they become superhighways, and the old negative ones start growing over. And so that's how we make change. And so one of the other things that I really like in one of the next videos, it was allowing and accepting things as they are, lets go of resistance. So if we practice being in the moment when we feel stress, and we can feel the tenseness, we don't feel good, we feel anxiety, and go, okay, I feel that's me resisting life. That's the resistance, the distance between me and happiness. So I'm going to bring myself back into happiness. I'm going to sit and I'm going to do an awareness practice, focus on my breathing, allowing what you're feeling in your body, just allowing and accepting what you're feeling inward, internally. That allows you to accept what's going on in life. And as you start allowing and accepting life, that resistance starts letting go. And then the emotional charge, the negative charge of resistance starts to let go. And then you're able to move through the experience, and life starts really changing. Starting to focus on things we're grateful for, starting to focus on things we're in appreciation for. Huge changes in life when we allow and accept life as it is and stop trying to change it. And then we're able to connect to our inner body feelings, and our heart starts to guide us towards intuitive insight, towards our life purpose and path, towards flow and abundance and creativity. And pretty soon, things start happening in a different way. Spontaneously, synchronicities happen, amazing things that line up perfectly, that just start appearing in our life. And so, allowing and accepting, it's amazing the difference in life that makes. So the last video I talked about my Freedom Through Mindfulness video, and so I talked about that because I'm doing a workshop Sunday, November 17th, a one-day workshop, and it's really about all of this stuff, bringing in the tools and the understanding of how to do this kind of work, rather than just a little bit of video here and here and here, where you can really customize it to your own life. And so it starts off with the first section. It's mindfulness. We just really need to be present to see what's going if we want to make change. Because if we're not present, how can we ever really make a change? And if we're trying to get somewhere on a roadmap, it doesn't do any good to see where we want to go if we don't know where we are on the map in relation to our destination. So being mindful, creating an awareness practice is essential to making change. And then we need to be truthful with what's happening in the present moment. Is what I'm feeling a direct result of what's actually happening? Or am I actually seeing things through fear, that false evidence appearing real, a false perception of reality? Am I seeing things through an irrational, perceived fear? And so it's really important to separate a perceived fear or a perceived program from what's really, really happening, so we can really be present with life, to allow and accept life. And we do that through the next section of feeling, going into our body, feelings and sensations, and allowing what we're feeling. That is where our freedom is, allowing what we feel in our body, in our breathing, our inner body sensations. And this is a lot of work, making these kind of changes, changing these kind of old programs. It takes a lot of self-discipline, so that's the next section. Learning to do really simple, fun things to change those neural pathways in our brain, to get more harmonized, supportive pathways that really encourage and help us and motivate us to keep wanting to do this really good, healthy change. And looking at the way we talk, looking at the way we communicate to the world, and the way we think in our mind, that congruent self-talk, being aligned with our goals, expressing ourselves and our actions that are in line with our goals rather than aligned with negativity. And then troubleshooting, because inevitably when we start doing this work, we're going to sooner or later sort of fall off the wagon, and we're going to feel, wow, this isn't working. So what do we do when we hit that point where we think that nothing's working and we're having challenges? So this gets us back on the wagon, gets us back on track, helping us to really see that things are really working. Really simple tools to get us back in the direction of harmony. So this is the end now of this main theme of anxiety and stress. And next week I'm going to be starting a brand new theme. I'm going to do 7 videos in that. And that one is on career performance. So say we're wanting to bring in more money, more abundance. Say we're wanting to open up a business or do something we've always dreamed of doing. Maybe we're wanting to just up-level ourselves in business in some way or another with our self-confidence, our self-esteem. Or maybe we're afraid of public speaking and we want to learn how to do that. Any of these things that have to do with career and business and our job. That's what I'm going to be covering in 7 videos, is ways we can up-level our business success. And the best way to do that, the best place to start, is with radical self-care. That's what I'm going to be starting on next week's video, on the topic of career performance and radical self-care. And so down below in the description, you'll see some information there about this video and some links to my website and the information to the Freedom Through Mindfulness workshop series that I'm putting on Sunday, November 17th. That information's below. You can click the link and go to my website to read more about it. But for now, I really look forward to seeing you next week for that new theme. And my name's Arnie Peterson from Awareness and Health, and thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.